This is Talking Crazy 88, back again with another podcast for you. Actually, another live stream on Balcony Chronicles. On this beautiful Saturday afternoon, 2 days after Thanksgiving, let's kick off the holiday season, Black Friday. Hope y'all got your cheap ass gifts on Amazon. Got a deal on some cheap ass gifts for people you don't even like. For family members you can't even stand to be with during the holiday season. So you got them a gift. I hope it works out this holiday season. I don't know what I'm going to be doing this holiday season in December. I might take a 2-week hiatus back on vacation, vacaciones, just to get away from y'all for a little while. But well, not away from y'all. I'll still be doing my live streams wherever I am. But forget about me. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Saturday afternoon and this holiday season? Hope everybody's doing very well. I'm not going to keep y'all long. I hope everybody during the Thanksgiving didn't drink too much and drive. Because if you do drive, don't take the field sobriety test. Do not take it. I'm warning y'all. It only gives the officer probable cause for impairment. It doesn't test whether you're fine to drive or not. Because motherfuckers still get arrested after passing the test or appearing to pass the test. Well, at least they think they passed the test. Officer knows that hey, this is a nice little arrest for me. Just say no, say as little as possible, and let your lawyers. Remember I told you about my last live stream that you should have an attorney on deck, especially a criminal attorney if you're a black man. Because you could get in some bull job with these officers, because these officers love to fuck with people. They don't really go out there and save lives. They're not brave. They're just as cowardly as me and you. Matter of fact, I got more guts than a police officer, than an average police officer on the street, walking around on the street. Okay. Professor Black Truth did a video essay about how 4 Orlando police, I think 4 sheriff's officers were fired because there was a domestic dispute. There was a domestic issue where a man who was stalking his ex-wife threatened to kill her and came to the house with a gun shooting, while the sheriff away and heard the shots and heard the commotion even before they intercede. And there was a black chief of the I think he's a sheriff deputy or a police officer, but the chief of police, used the language that make it seem like these officers are cowards, and they were cowards. And by the way, the chief is a black man. He ain't brother. He's a black man. But the only reason that these officers got fired is because you didn't say a white woman involved. Oh, by the way, the couple on that domestic dispute, the people involved in that domestic dispute was a white man and a white woman. Okay? Came to the house with a gun and started shooting. The woman was trying to get away, trying to get safety, and shot 3 people. Shot the father, shot a neighbor, and then eventually shot her to death. Okay? Let me tell you all something. Black lives do not matter in this country. It never has and never will. But white lives always will matter. So when Black Lives, when that organization came out during George Floyd, like I said, it had good intentions. But like everybody said, like old saying that good intentions is always a pathway to hell. That's what happened to the organization. It just went to hell. And during that time, there were white folks just, trolling, saying white lives matter. White lives have always mattered, people. And that's why these 6 officers were fired from their job, because it was their duty to protect white folks, even from each other. It's their duty to. But black folks, they can just fuck with us any which way. They can just roll up on a traffic stop, pull guns on us, and pretend and make up a lie that said they were looking for a suspect in the area, knowing that these are highly trained, who we expect would not make a mistake like that, would not make a mistake. They usually make a mistake when black folks are involved. They never make any mistakes when folks are involved, right? They make sure that they cover all their bases. They kill a white person. They make sure they talk them right off the ledge before they shoot. And I'm not playing the race card. I'm not doing all of that bullshit. All right. I'm just telling it like it is. I'm in reality. I'm not in la la land. There are certain spaces that I go into. I know them white folks don't want me in there. Make me know, never mind. See, I only go where I'm wanted and I go where I'm invited. Okay? So I don't go in places where I'm not wanted or invited. Hence Tommy Sotomayor. Still trying to reason with white supremacists. Right? Trying to go, a black man going in their spaces talking about white supremacy. Talking about the bullshit that goes on in white spaces. Melissa Quintero, how you doing, baby? Ruben Mendoza, all right. How you doing, buddy? Good to see y'all. Good to see everybody in the chat. Let's see something if y'all can hear me. Okay, yeah, y'all can hear me. All right. I just want to make sure. But like Tommy Sotomayor, love to go in these spaces and then he's surprised when these motherfuckers talk slick to him. Talk niggerish to him. I don't go in those spaces, man. I don't go into MAGA spaces. I don't go into alt-right. I don't talk to these people. I don't want anything to do with them. I don't talk to these people. I don't talk to people that's John Birch society. I'll listen to them. If I'm standing there, want to strike up a conversation and they want to talk about politics, I ain't nothing. I'll just listen. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I don't go back and forth with them. I don't argue with them because that's what they want you to do. They want you to be triggered. They want you to be emotionally triggered and react and cuss them out and choke a white nigga. That's what they want you to do. But I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. And neither should you. Okay? But, there's a reason why that motherfucker is not on YouTube. because everybody evolved. Even I'm an old relic on YouTube. I'm from 2013, you know, but my content, I evolved my content a little bit. I don't really talk about black women. I don't talk about them. First of all, I don't talk about other black folks' issues in front of the audience, because you never know who's gonna. All right. Now I have my opinion about the black community, but like I said, I'm not exactly pro-black, but I'm not anti-black either. I love my people. I love black Americans. I love FBAs because that's who I am. That's where I grew up. I grew up in the United States. I was born in the United States. Grew up here. My family. I can trace my lineage back to 400 years, 400 or 500 years in this country, in South Carolina and Louisiana. Okay. Then you got some, and let me just explain why I'm glad that we're in a delineation. We're delineating from other black folks, other black groups, other immigrant black folks. Now, don't get me wrong. I still consider them cousins. I still consider them family, but they're not one of us. I'm gonna be a little bit nicer about it. But than Tariq Nasheed and other content creators with. I don't see us as one big nigga. And I don't think the whole country sees us as one big nigga. I've always been, in the last few years, proud of being Black American because there's an acknowledgement of it. See, when I was growing up, there was no real acknowledgement of being Black American. We always had to identify as being African, or from the continent that we know nothing about. We don't know what part of Africa we came from, my people came from. We can't really, we can only trace it back to the slave trade or slavery, where the white slave masters had control over the records. And when slavery ended, they probably destroyed those records, leaving us with no knowledge of who we are and where we came from. We wasn't even allowed to talk about it. So let's fast forward to 2025 when we're from other black folk or other immigrant folks. You know, I'm talking about first generation, second generation, and third generation of immigrants who are black folks coming into this country and dictating how actual Black Americans should live our lives. What kind of politics that we deserve. No, we have to separate. We have to delineate. Well, not separate, but we just have to identify. We just have to make sure that we have a clear identity of who my people are. All right. Therese said it best. When some other group does well, they say, yeah, that's a Nigerian American. There's a Jamaican American did this, won the Nobel Peace Prize. But whenever there's a crime committed, black folks, we got to get it together. We're involved in crime. It's like, I had an argument with my sister Princess last night. I explained it to her. There's always stats on black folks. You know, stats on criminal behavior, out of wedlock pregnancy, the marriage rate, last in every group, and there's stats on it that we're last in every group And we're first in something nefarious, in criminal. But they never pull up stats on white folks. They never pull up stats on Hispanics. Y'all never pull up stats on Asian, even though those motherfuckers are the sneakiest of the groups in criminal behavior. Keep game on this, man. You gotta watch those motherfuckers with those Chinese stock shops. Go down to Canal Street in New York City where they're selling handbags, when they're selling counterfeit shit. Hell, let's go back to 2013, man, when we was talking about when there was a channel called Greatest Reality Show Ever. And that brother's my name, but that was the brother that tased that bitch that's in Atlanta Metro Mall. Oh, Darian Long. Yeah. It was a guy that had a store booth named Frank, who happens to be Korean, selling counterfeit shit out of the store in the Metro Mall. Counterfeit clothing, bags, whatever. Jordan and Nike apparel. Selling that shit. But nobody blinks an eye when you see an Asian doing that shit. But everybody else, we're all one big nigga when we doing shit. They never see that shit. They never see the side of being an Asian. What these nefarious behavior that the Asians be doing. We don't have stats, man. We don't keep game on that. So what I'm trying to say is that in every group has a subculture, except our subculture is more pronounced and promoted. And we're under a fucking microscope. Why do you think these athletes, they love having professional athletes come from nothing to become from a female-headed household, no man around. During the draft, you say, "Hi, Mom, how you doing? If it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't be here." But they never promote the two-parent family house. Like favorite basketball player, Grant Hill. I'm from a two-parent family, both professionals. My man went to Duke University. Made a name for himself, made millions of himself. But they never talk about the story about Grant Hill and his. And we have to hear about LeBron James and his background. They're more sympathetic. That's more of a come up than Grant Hill. You got to ask yourself that question. Why? Well, because they don't want to promote a two-parent family, two-parent household for black folks. They don't. They never did. They'll promote a two-family household if there's a black man and a white guy. They love that. They love promoting marriage between white folks, Asians, and Hispanics. Never promoting marriage between black folks, black men and black women, getting together and getting married and having that family. They never promote it. They never promote the offspring that had a stable, but it wasn't great, but it had a stable family life, like I did. My mom and my pops were together for a long time, got married, had babies. Had babies that grew up. Okay? Sure, we have our quirks have their quirks, but what family doesn't? Okay? But one thing we never did, we never broke the law, never spent a day in jail, all college educated, have careers, have jobs, and or careers. Okay? And families of our own. Okay? That's never been promoted. That cycle of life of black folks. We always talk about either the downtrodden or the pookies. Pookies get more sympathy. See, and Mike Epps, he had said something about mentioning that men in our community being celebrated from being released from prison. They throw them a party, they get a lot of love. But then again, but I got to challenge him on that as well. But what happens on the aftermath? What happens to these guys that get what they do? Do they go back to a life of crime, or they just turn their lives around and evolve? I would like to hope that they do turn their life around and evolve. Even though a lot of these guys that come out of prison, they never go back to a life of crime. They do better than most college educated people do. They have their own businesses, they have their own network where they can make money. Always making money, and I'm keeping aim on that. You know, what kind of assistance that these guys have, what kind of network that they established. All right. And that's something that most of you fellas in college should be doing. Y'all should be established. See, it's one thing to go to college, get the degree. Another thing is going to college and establishing friendships and network with some of your classmates. So when you actually get into the real world, fucked up. You always got to continue getting connections, shaking hands with the right people. Meeting people that can actually help your career. What do you think? What the fuck you think LinkedIn is for? Just to sit there and just look at some of these pages? No. Reach out to some of these executives, or reach out to some of the people that's in your industry that you're interested in. Network with them. Tell them who you are, what you do, what you're planning on doing. What is your goal? And if you ass off, go ahead and line your ass off to get that job. But like I said, delineation is much more important, because I've been wanting to talk about, and I saw a video that by Pink Book Lessons on YouTube, where you have these, and I heard about this story earlier this week, about an African braid shop jacked up this woman and held her hostage in the store, ripping out one of the braids out of her hair, held her hostage in the store, over $50 damn. And I know what these motherfuckers be doing. They love to, they quote you one price, and after you get the work done, another price. They jack up the price a little bit, which is kind of swarmy and scammy. I had a friend that did the same shit to me. Well, he's a so-called friend. Now he's an associate. I don't fuck with that nigga. Hold on for a second. Sorry about that. I had to relight my cigar. I had a so-called friend. Did the same thing. Trying to sell me a polo shirt. Quoted me price $40. I said, all right, I'll get it to me next week. I'll get you your $40. Cool. And when he gave me the sweater, gave him the $40, he said, nah, Danny, it's $60. It's like, no, nigga, you quoted me 40. Why the fuck would I bring $40 if you quoted me 60? I would have gave you the 60. I have no problem giving you $60. So we went in a back and forth. So I said, you know what, fuck it. Here's an additional $20. Here's the $60, all right? And ever since then, he came back the next week, all apologetic. Because his girl told him, nah, baby, it was $40. You said you was gonna sell it for $40. You know, he made me a liar and a chiseler, when in actuality, he's a chiseler. So I never really fucked with him ever since then. I don't call him, I don't hang out with him. He calls and we'll hang out. But we ain't friends. We ain't friends like that. We ain't cool like that anymore, because once you do that to me, that's it. Because it shows you have bad character. It shows that you're a chiseler. It shows that you're a scam artist. If you can scam me, you'd probably be able to scam your mama. And I don't want to be around people like that. And you shouldn't either. So that's why delineation is much more important. Come to think of it, he was a black American. So, like I said, everybody's a scam artist. Everybody's scamming. So it's not just Africans, it's not just Jamaicans, it's not just white folks, it's not black folks. Everybody does it. If they want to get over on you, they will. This man this man lost a friendship over $20. It cost him $20 to lose a friendship like myself. So every time when he goes, hey Dan, hey, talking crazy, you want to hang out? Nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna be out of town, player. Yeah, he tried to give me the $20 back, and I said, no, keep it. Keep it. Last week, it meant more to you last week to have that $20. And he was a cheap motherfucker. He's a chiseler. He never bought anybody a drink. So we weren't really friends or anything like that. So I don't really hang out with him. I don't hang out with people like that. There's a character issue. You can do that to me, you can do that to anybody. And that's something you should all look out for, fellas. People with good character that have in your circle. Once you sense that something's not right about that person and what he's doing, especially look at how he treats other people. He or she treats other people. If they treat other people like shit, what makes you think they ain't gonna treat you like shit? You know? see where we are. Let me see where we at. All right. We're 30 minutes in. I'm going to watch the rest of the Michigan-Ohio State game while smoking my cigar. But I'll get at y'all fellas next week, all right? Y'all enjoy the rest of the day. I'll get at you later. This is Talking Crazy 88, and I am out of here. And black folks, let's be careful out there, all right?